E360 TV proudly presents Messages of Inspirational Stories, broadcasting and live streaming to millions of devices around the world, including Roku, and live streaming to Facebook Live. Also on Amazon Fire TV and to Twitch. Also Android TV and Periscope. Broadcasting to Apple TV and YouTube Live. Proudly brought to you by our host, Donna Guinois, producer and host, Michaela Vidal, host and administrator, and Jim Grant, producer and host. Proudly brought to you by the 6minutewebinar.com.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Jim, here we are, middle of the week already.
I mean to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we've had a lot of fun over the last week and a half with these old sayings and things of this nature because there is so much doom and gloom going on in the world. Donna and I, we wanted to give people some infotainment that they desperately want because all the other stuff.
Have fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what about if we could just break the ice?
Amen. Amen to
I didn't
that.
Today, folks.
Yeah, I hear you. You know, our show is brought to you by a marketing partner, claritytocashmasterclass.com. That is the new name of the 6-minute webinar, and you can check them out there. And if you have a need to be able to communicate with your client, the claritytocashmasterclass.com is for you.
Absolutely. I will second, third, and fourth that one.
And that makes it official. You know, Donna, I like reading about interesting stories and interesting people and people who have humble beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
You remember Bill Withers had that 1971 song, There Ain't No Sunshine, which is known.
Yep.
His English teacher called him and told him that, Bill, you know the word ain't is not a proper word. And you know what he said to her? I know. But nice. I got to tell you the story behind that. When Bill, what inspired, this is one of those nice stories. Bill was inspired to write this song after he was watching the movie, the 1962 movie, The Days of Wine and Roses, that starred Lee Remick and Jack Lemmon. They were both alcoholics, and the way that they were, one was good and one was bad, the back and forth and all the trouble they had, that inspired him to write the song. Now, what was interesting, when he wrote the song, guess what Bill Withers was doing to earn a living?
Oh, boy. Bartending?
Good choice, but nope. He was actually making toilets for airplanes.
Oh, wow.
Working in a factory. So here was a guy that watched a movie, had an inspiration, created a song, and I forget the record company. It's in here. I don't go take time to read it. But anyway, when the song went golden, the record company gave him a gold toilet seat.
Nice.
And I think he went on to have 3 gold records or something, but it just goes to show you, ladies and gentlemen, how you can be inspired. And inspiration comes in many places, in many ways. And it might be your calling in life to respond to that inspiration and be like Bill Withers or anyone else that creates something, whatever it might be, whatever your calling is, that it should be your motivation. That's what you should, act on. And I found that story interesting, and I just had to say that that's not true about the English teacher. And I know. I just had to throw that in there.
Right. Well, and I think it's important to say that if you have an idea that
Yes.
if you have that inspiration and somebody or yourself says, "Ugh, man, it'll never take off," don't doubt yourself so much.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. It is well known, and Jim's talked about this before. Um, Les Brown said that the one place where the most dreams are are sealed is in the graveyard,
Yeah. Richest place on earth is a
right?
cemetery. Hmm.
And I will tell you that from my own experience with my mother, who was extremely brilliant, had some amazing ideas, and mom nor dad really followed it through. And had they followed it through, I can pretty much guarantee you that we would have been multi millionaires by now,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
because these ideas are out there and are in use every single day.
Hmm. That's like my good friend, Don McGrath. He's one of the owners of the Clarity to Cash Masterclass.com. Don is an engineer by trade, very brilliant man, very humble man.
Very.
The best way I can describe Don McGrath to you is that he's the friend that you've never met yet. That's the way I've said that for years. It's true. But Don holds 36 U.S. patents.
Mm-hmm.
And see, that just goes to show you when an idea comes, whether it be a song like Bill Withers or a patent idea like Don had, you get into action. You don't worry about whether or not someone says it, it'll work or not. Don't even pay any attention to that. They're
Right.
not part of your calling. And that's so important. And a lot of these old words and sayings, we're going to get into those today. And there's what I've found, what Don and I have found over the last week and a half is that what we think they are and their origin is not on the same sheet of music, is it?
No, maybe, shoot, I'd say at most 10%.
Hmm. Yeah.
10%.
Hmm.
And here's the other interesting thing about it is that what it originally meant is not necessarily what it means today,
Hmm. That's right.
right? So there's more than one meaning behind some of these sayings. But you
Hmm.
know what? One of the most beautiful things about doing this for the last week and a half for Jim and I hope for you too, is that it has taken us back to yesteryear,
Oh,
to
yeah.
the time with family when you can hear somebody who
Mm.
was in your family, you know, or friends say something, and it takes you back in that memory, that trip down memory lane. And I
Mhm.
think sometimes in today's society, we get so busy that we forget that those trips down memory lane are really important too, because
Mhm.
that is part of our history, it is part of our culture, and it's part of how we got shaped the way we are today.
Amen. Absolutely. And early on in this TV program, we had a guy on by the name of Tim Ringo. And Tim is a musician. I mean, he likes to write music and, he just loves music, loves guitar. In fact, Donna, him and I were on the show, and this may shock you a little bit, but we were getting down to about 5 minutes left. And I was running out of things to say. True story, folks. I'm not making this up. And Tim had his guitar there, and he was talking about, we had talked about the guitar, and we had a lot of great conversations about how music takes us back to a point, and he worked with people who had dementia and Alzheimer's, and certain songs would take them back in their
Right.
memory banks to an area where their mind was still working, and they could talk about that just as clear as what we're talking today. But
Yep.
anyway, we got down to a few minutes left, and I says, Tim, you got your guitar there? He said, oh yeah. I said, I tell you what, brother. I said, I'm kind of out of words. How about, closing the show with the song? I mean, let's get up and get down right now. He grabbed that guitar and we did.
Nice,
And all
nice.
I think if I memory serves me right, and I could be wrong on this, I said, "Goodbye, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you, Tim." We were out of there. But I've just felt the inspiration to close the show with him playing the guitar. I just felt
Right.
like it put a nice ending to it. It really did.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
that's the thing too. Always be spontaneous. Walk to the beat of your own drum. And what I mean by that is that it's okay to have a little swagger in your life. I'm not talking about pride or anything like that. I'm talking about walking to the beat of your own drum because you are a true individual. You have a special calling in life. Do
And
not
you're
follow the crowd.
unique.
Oh, yeah.
Don't
Oh,
cover it up, folks. Let
mhm.
it shine.
That's right. And do not leave any stone unturned.
Nice.
Did I get done on that one there? I don't
No.
know. I tried. I tried. But leave no stone unturned is an old saying. And the saying today means we have so many options that we forget this simple advice. Try everything you can to achieve your goals. Don't live with the regret of not turning that stone over and seeing what's underneath it. If you're constantly quitting one thing for the other, you won't reach your goals, period.
Right.
So it's all the way from the alpha to the omega. Follow it through. That's what it means. Leave no stone unturned. And the actual origin of that, it does not say because it's not known. See, some of these sayings are so old that, and they've been used over and over and over from generations to generations. They're parables, is what they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
they teach us stories. That's how people learned and remembered family history and events that happened because people would share parables and tell stories that way.
Right.
That's the way Jesus taught when he was here on planet Earth, and that was a standard to teach in parables.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So it's amazing. Some of these I have to say we don't have the exact origins of,
Right.
but we have the meaning of them. And
Mhm.
one of them that we all heard and probably most of us have used is, oh, let's break the ice, right? So, the meaning of that is to do or say something to relieve tension or get conversation going.
Mhm.
But in the origin of this one, in the old days, commercial ships would often get stuck in frozen rivers during wintertime.
Mm.
So smaller ships called icebreakers would come to clear a path to shore by breaking the ice. In the 17th century, people began to use the phrase to mean reduce tension in the social situation. Now, icebreakers are still used today
Mhm.
to break ice in,
Mhm.
different parts of the world, all
Mhm.
over where ships are trying to get through and the ice is too thick.
Oh yeah, because they got to get that ice broken, because otherwise that can crush the ship.
Right.
That much pressure, yeah. And we had some icebreakers the other week, didn't we? Whenever we were talking about well, it was during Valentine's week, and we called it Palentine's week. We were talking about how you can create, find friends, and if you're an introvert, ways that you could break the ice. We had
Oh my
that
gosh.
two truths and one lie, and we both batted 50%. We did it twice.
Right.
Don and I each missed one, and we each got one.
Right. But
So
there's so many fun games you guys can look
oh
up
yeah, oh yeah.
to have icebreakers or have little
Mhm,
mixers, and they are a blast. The
mhm.
Two Truths and One Lie, I gotta say, is one of my favorites. And the other one I like that we did is if you could be any animal,
Mm,
who would it be?
yeah,
Now, when we did this before, Jim picked an eagle,
that's right.
mhm, and I picked the
Mhm.
wolf.
Yeah.
Hmm. I picked the wolf. So,
Uh-huh.
Jim, if you could, other than the eagle, if you could be an animal, what would it be?
What would it be? Well, wouldn't be a farm animal, I know that. Maybe a coyote, and I'll tell you why it fits my personality, because I'm a renegade. I say that sincerely because a good friend of mine, looks like I got some things flying around here behind me. Something wrong with the lights. We didn't get them adjusted right, so I apologize for that.
Or you forgot to pay the bill 100%. So they're.
But anyway, a good friend of mine, his name was Don Dillyhunt. We were en route on a business deal from Tucson. We were heading down to Nogales, Arizona. And Don says, you know what, Jim? I've been thinking about you. And I said, you have? And he said, yeah. He said, you know what you are? And I said, no. And I knew it wasn't going to be anything bad because I knew him. He says, you are a true renegade. You walk to the beat of your own drum. And that fits my personality, and that's really who I am. I've never been one to follow the crowd or anything like that. I mean, I'm just not wired that way.
Right.
So I guess the animal I would probably be a coyote because they're a little bit of a loner, and that would fit my personality. I mean, I wouldn't want to be a buzzard.
I think I would be an otter.
An otter, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Again, because they're extremely smart, very family oriented, and they work together as a team.
Mm-hmm.
And they love to have fun and play.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And as we grow up, right, we grow older, we often forget how to have fun.
Oh,
we
yeah,
forget how to be silly. We forget, get in the pool and, when you're kids, how you splash each other in the pool. And, that's something that I know in the summertime when my husband and I get in the pool, that's something that we never know when it's going to happen to the other. It'll be a swoosh, and see who can plaster the other one the most.
Oh, yeah.
That's just fun.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just silly, silly fun.
Last year when it snowed all that much here, and of course it snowed all over the place and across the country, we had those freezing temperatures around the middle of February 2021, I think it was. And Evelyn and I walked outside, so I got a snowball and I threw it at her. Of course, I wasn't going to hit her in the face,
Right.
or anything like that. But I hit her in the butt. And she turned around and looked at me and says, "What's wrong with you?" I said, "I'm acting my age." And I looked at her. She started laughing at me because, like Donna says, you got to have fun. Because we all know, I said yesterday, I think it was, I could write down, okay, Jim, you need to do this, and probably this, and this.
Right.
And you need to stop doing this, and this. But those are chores. Those are boring. What is it that I want to do? What is it? Think of the lifestyle that you want to have.
Right.
Let all the other stuff that's going on in your mind fall by the wayside. That's why Donna and I, we love doing this show, not only for this week, but every week, because of the infotainment we are able to provide. And we never know what each other's going to say.
Right. Right.
Especially with me,
Well, sometimes it's more than you can shake a stick at.
Okay. Where did that phrase come from? You going to share it with us?
Of course I am. So the meaning is a large amount or a quantity of something. But the origin is this was born when farmers who waved sticks to herd sheep would have more sheep than they could control. Makes sense.
Yeah, it sure does.
Especially since, if they had more sheep than they could control, and maybe they didn't have enough dogs or what have you to help them, or they're just starting out and, boom, they needed a little more help. So that's where it came from.
That's amazing.
More than you can shake a stick out.
That's amazing. Have you ever heard that action speaks louder than words? I've heard that a lot growing up in my life, But the old saying, the meaning today is, yep, you can talk a real good game, but it's all talk and no execution. Nothing's going to happen. Social media posting is cool and all that, but if behind that isn't a solid game of doing the actions that you have to do, your life won't change. And we know a lot of folks like that waste too much time on social media. And I see a lot of folks that are always putting in positive phrases and all that on social media, and that's fine. I've got nothing wrong with that. But if that's all that they post, I kind of wonder how much good it's doing. They're just posting something to get their name out there, or what?
Hmm.
Because good positive, I'm not saying we don't need good positive messages. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, is that all that you do?
Right.
As
What else do you
sometimes,
bring to the party?
yeah, how can you be a blessing to others? How can you follow your calling in life, like Bill Withers, to write that
Mm.
song, or to, follow your calling and be a productive member of society? That's the challenge.
Right.
That's the challenge for me.
Absolutely. And it's important to be able to be well rounded.
Yes, yes, yes,
Important to be well rounded.
yeah.
And not just once in a blue moon, Jim.
Once in a while, once in the morning, a while in the afternoon, right?
Once in a blue moon. So
Okay.
obviously we know that means very rarely, right? But
Hmm.
the origin is this is one is rather obvious since a blue moon is an astronomical phenomenon that is visible once every 2.7 years. Even though the moon actually looks more gray than blue,
Hmm.
according to NASA, it might appear to be blue when it's affected by volcanic eruptions or forest fires due to the oils in the smoke.
Hmm.
So that's
Yeah,
kind of interesting.
it really is. And once in a blue moon, we know that's once in a long time.
Right.
Intervals. That's kind of like this is not a saying I got a meaning for anything like it. Just like saying that's like seeing Haley's comet twice in one lifetime. And I think Haley's comet returns. Is it ever 87 years or 83 years? Anyway, it's something like that.
Yeah, it's a bit. I can't remember.
Yeah, yeah. But I will share this one here with you. Uh, Donna, I think we talked about this before, but let's mention it again. Two wrongs don't make a right, does
Well, you could be right or you could be wrong.
it? But
What's that
the,
mean?
the original old saying, if someone has harmed you, don't do the same to them.
Right?
You won't make things right if you do. On the contrary, things will still remain bad. Plus, you have lowered yourself down to their standard.
Hmm.
So revenge in the end becomes pointless. And you think about people who have wronged you and stuff like that. The thing to do is love yourself enough to say, I'm going to, forget about that. I'm going to forgive it, let it go. I'm just going to go on with my life, and I'm not going to let it be like body acid on me, just eating me up.
Right.
Because some people, wow, I mean, they just can't get over it. Yeah, I've heard, and this is a not a meaning or anything I'm going to share, but I heard one guy say, and I'm serious about this. He says, God may forgive him, but I never will. That is heavy duty right there. You have enslaved yourself.
Right.
In fact, you're worse off, I think, than the person that did you wrong. But that's not my area to judge or anything like that, or not my calling. But things like that, they are a soul and a self destroyer. They
Mm.
rob you of what you're so entitled to. You're entitled to a life of love and abundance, and it robs you on all fronts, doesn't it, Donna?
It does. And I want to add to that, Jim,
Hmm.
because not only if we rob ourselves of it, but it's important to be aware, and I love the euphemism you use about, like pouring body acid on yourself and it eats away at you. There are people who we will sometimes come in contact with in life who are like that, right?
Hmm.
They are the body acid and they bring us down and they create friction and chaos and turmoil in our life. And it's
Mm.
important to recognize that and get away from that, because
Yeah.
that kind of person usually doesn't even know they're like that. right? They think that they're doing everything right.
Hmm.
And well, and that may just be them. But for
Hmm.
most people, our world doesn't turn that way.
Yeah. And I'd like to add a little bit to that, Donna, because how many times have we said something or thought something and we didn't realize that the person that we said something about or thought something about, we did not realize where they were in their life.
Oh,
We had
yeah.
not walked a mile in their shoes.
Hmm.
And I can be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I have said things that I regretted.
Oh,
And
I
I've
have too.
also thought of things that I said, thank you, sweet Jesus. I didn't open my big mouth and
Right.
say something because I had not walked a mile in their shoes.
And I think for me, Jim, part of that hit home with me. Um, I mean, it always hit home with me, but not as much as it should have,
Uh
right?
huh.
And after I had my first brain surgery,
Oh.
people would look at me and like, you didn't have brain surgery. Well, because I had all my hair and I
Hmm.
have a big gaping scar on my head. Well, I promise you, I did have brain surgery, but they went up through my femoral artery and they did that 3 times. But my point in this is you cannot judge that book by its cover because you don't know. You
Amen.
don't know. And at the end of the day, we are all somebody's spouse, mother, brother, sister, father, nephew. But we are all people.
Hmm.
And we have life sometimes hands us, right on our butt. And we have
Yeah.
to deal with it.
Hmm.
And so my point is if you look at people who are grumpy, this is what I learned this in retail years and years ago. You look at somebody who's grumpy and you have to deal with them and you just say, okay, I don't know what they're going through. And it's somebody's father, somebody's
Hmm.
son.
Yeah.
Maybe, there was a tragedy in their life. We just
Hmm.
don't know. So
Yeah.
give yourself grace by giving them grace, folks.
Hmm. That's exactly right. And Don, I couldn't agree with you more about that because it's very, very important because you know, some people they just react in a very negative way, and it's not really aimed at you, but because you're in the area, because they're letting off this negative steam coming out of it's really bothering them. It just seems to the ashes just seem to fall on you.
Yes.
So don't let that bother you. Don't get caught up into that because it's a dead end street. It
Right.
really is. And I don't know how I got started on that, but and got away from these old sayings and stuff. But chances are, I really believe this, Donna. Chances are, when things come to our minds and we talk about them live on the show here, like we do, there's
For
probably
grace.
one person out there that needs to hear it and say, "Wow, thank you."
Hmm.
You know, because it's so hard. Life is hard, and and that's why we're supposed to love ourselves first and forgive ourselves, and then we can love others and enjoy the love and abundance of life. That's what you're
Right.
entitled to.
Right. And when somebody is a little bit nasty, and this is one of those old
Mhm.
sayings, kill them with kindness.
Mm.
Kill them with kindness. Be
Yeah,
kind.
yeah.
Be kind, because when we and I know I can speak from gospel truth. In my past, I had a hair trigger temper, and you know what? For why? Is it going to matter
Hmm.
in a week? Is
Yeah.
it going to matter in a month? Is it going to matter in 6 months or a year?
Oh, yeah.
So, that old saying, well, pick your battles, right? Right? Pick your battles. But it's
Yeah.
true. You pick your battles. You know what? 99% of the things that go on in my life just go right off me like water
Oh,
on a duck's back.
oh, yeah. It's kind of funny because when I was in my 20s, I acted a certain way, and people take pictures of me, and I'd stand there like this. I was in my 30s. I started, yeah, 20s, I know what I'm doing now. I got life in my hip pocket. 40, yeah, I'm okay. 50, you get a little older, it doesn't matter about that. I don't care about that. If I want to go uptown with a pair of old dirty clothes on, so what?
Hmm.
I'm not running for anything. I'm not running from anything, so I don't care.
Right.
And when you get up in, later on, they start dragging out the pictures to show your grandkids. You're going like, don't show them that one. I look like a dork. And back then, ladies and gentlemen, you think you look so cool.
Right, right. Oh,
You look and
well,
feel like a dork. You can I have that one there. Let's put
right.
this
Can
in
I
trash.
just borrow that picture real quick?
Yeah.
Well, what about this one? Mama didn't raise no fool.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm. Right?
Mhm.
And I don't know where the origin of that one came from. I just have that in front of me, but it just means that, mom raised me up right and I'm smart.
Mhm.
Yep.
It reminds me of an old saying. We've always heard this, that beauty is in the eye of the, can you finish it?
Beholder.
There you go. There you go. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. It's an old saying, and there is no universal law or anything like that to measure beauty because we see beauty in many different ways, in many different things. We may say beauty in the ways where the birds fly. We may see beauty in flowers. We may
Hmm.
see beauty in looking at another, nice looking person. But it all depends on what your heart is about and what it is that you're looking for in life. And they told you're not beautiful. Someone told you you're not beautiful, don't let that affect you
Right.
because true beauty comes from the inside.
Absolutely.
It really does. And that's the type of beauty that no one can, no
That
one can steal from you. Yeah.
age can't fade that kind
Yeah.
of beauty, folks. Age
Because,
can't tarnish it. It can't wrinkle it.
uh-huh.
It can't gray it.
Hmm.
It's just always there shining.
Yeah. Because when you love people and you got a beautiful inside of you and you care about people, oh my goodness gracious, you're going to be so attractive. And
Right?
I knew a girl growing up, very attractive lady. I mean, very beautiful young woman as far as. Well, I heard one guy say, he described her as this. He says, the good thing it's not raining. He said, because the way she walks around with her nose stuck up in the air, she would drown.
Oh my.
It was a true story. I mean, that's the way she was. She was caught up in herself. She was caught up in her physical beauty. And really, a physical beauty, that's like the icing on a cake. The real cake is the sweet on the inside.
Hmm.
That's what makes you a sweet person. And that's what makes people wanting to be around you and be attractive to you because you care. You know that those people matter.
Right?
And that's so important in life. It really is.
It is. And it doesn't even matter, Jim, if you're older than dirt.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I like you too.
And I don't know where that saying came from, but obviously it means just very literally,
Hmm.
when someone's saying you're older than dirt, well,
Hmm.
how long's
Yeah.
dirt been around? So they're pretty dadgum old.
Or did you come over on the Mayflower? That's another one.
Right? Right? Oh, that is good. That is good. How about practice what you preach?
Oh, goodness. Yes.
Right? And
That
and I
is.
again, I don't have the origin of that, but
Mhm.
practice what you preach. It just means, what? Same as don't do as I say, do or don't do as I do, do as I say.
Mhm.
Right? Just practice what you preach. So if you talk it, you need to walk it. You need
Yes.
to do that, right?
Yeah.
You talk the talk and you walk the walk.
Mm, absolutely. Because it's up to you to set the standard, not only for, if you're a parent, not only for your children, but also for your friends, people around you, and even people you just don't even know you come in contact with. You got to set the standard that you're a person that respects another human being, even if you disagree with them on political issues or religious issues, whatever. You've got
Hmm.
to respect that person because that person was put on planet Earth for the same reason you were.
Right.
And you're not any more important than that person is.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jim, how long have I know you've heard this, and it's
Okay.
been a minute since I've heard this. Don't
Okay.
fret, it's all going to come out in the wash. And some of these are really, really old Southern sayings.
Mm-hmm.
And, all that means is, you know, it's okay because you're going to wash it and you're going to think about it. And when you get done washing and hanging it up to dry, the answer's going to be there. You throw out the dirty water and there's your answer. It's all
Mm-hmm.
going to come out in the wash. Now that can be taken two ways, so right, Jim? It can
It
be
sure
taken
can.
for the good, or it can be taken, well, don't you worry. I've heard this one. They'll get theirs. It'll all come
Mhm.
out in the wash,
Oh, yeah.
right? Meaning they can't hide it. They
Mm-hmm.
can't hide what they've done.
Mm-hmm. There's another old saying that goes around, and it's very much alive today, and that is, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness gracious! And how many people are looking for free lunches in life? Uh, there's people that, they're always looking for how someone can help them, bless them, but they do not expect to return that blessing. A lot of phrases used today, a common phrase is cross pollination.
Hmm.
And that's a new school. The old school is like neighbor helping neighbor. And there's a lot of truth in that because there is no such thing as a free lunch. If you want to be blessed, you've got to bless others first. That's a prerequisite.
And you have to take responsibility for
Yes,
yourself.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because we're spoiled. We on the internet we see we get free this, free that, free books, free the other. Goodness gracious, we feel like we're entitled to all this stuff for free, and that falls into the category of being very, very prideful.
Hmm.
And once you're puffed up with pride, you have polluted the spring in your soul. Think about that. I grew up on a farm. We had 7 springs out there. And Donna, I remember I asked my dad because it was moss colored it had moss at the bottom, very fine green moss.
Hmm.
And in the bottom of it were little bitty minnows.
Right?
And I asked my dad, I says, is that safe to drink? He says, son, that's not only the purest and freshest water you'll ever have, but it's the cleanest too. And I thought, how could that be? He says, Mother Nature is smarter than you. That was I guess that was his way of saying, I really don't know how to explain it, but I understand it. But it
You
was so
understand the
true.
concept of it, right?
Yes. And I dip a cup in there. We had 10 cups, and I dip a 10 cup in there, a pitcher cup, and I drink that cold water. And it was so sweet and so naturally cold. It could be, 100 degrees out there, humidity, and the dog days of August and all that. But that water was so pure. And
Hmm.
my point being, whenever you pollute the spring inside of your soul,
Oh yeah.
you are drinking from polluted water,
Right.
the water of the spirit. You really are. And
Mhm.
you'll never get ahead like that. It'll always hold you back and it'll make you sick and everything.
Right? Right? Well, Jim, have you ever been as full as a tick?
Yes, ma'am, I have. And I've been as tight as a tick, too.
Or wow, how about that one? Wound tighter than a 7-day clock?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh my, these sayings, and obviously I've got a lot of Southern family
Mm,
and
yeah, I know
grew
what you
up with
mean.
these. Oh my gosh. And of course, I love this one. Have you lost your ever loving mind?
I don't know why I snickered at that one there, but maybe because I've heard it before.
Right? Right? What about walking in high cotton?
Mm. Hmm.
That's an old one, right?
Oh, yeah, that goes back to the South big time. It
Oh,
really
yeah.
does.
And walking in high cotton just meant that, The cotton crops came in, and that means you're going to have a bumper crop, and you're
Yeah.
going to have, you're going to get money for it.
Oh, yeah.
You're going to have a good year.
Hmm. How
Well,
about better late than never? Have you ever heard that one?
oh yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm.
That's an old saying. The meaning today is that it's better to do something than not to do anything at all or to never do it. It's better to apologize to someone than never apologizing at all. And it
Right.
doesn't matter if you're late or whatever it might be, make sure that you don't quit or stop. Because a lot of people, as soon as they run into a hurdle or a block wall, a mental block wall, they quit, they
Yep.
stop. And it's better late than never, which means you don't give up in life. I mean, you're still breathing. You still got, heartbeat in your veins and breath in your lungs. So you owe it to yourself to keep trying. That's the bottom
Absolutely.
line. Mhm.
Well, how about this one? So there's two, but I'm going to say two, but I'm going to tell you the one that my family said.
Okay.
So the one is slow as molasses. But my family always said, "You're slower than molasses going uphill in January."
Oh, yeah. I've heard the one you're slower than molasses in January because,
Yep,
man, yeah.
going uphill in January.
Yep.
Just get the let out. And that was my mom and dad's way of saying, "Get moving and get those chores done, girl."
Hmm.
Oh, how about you'd argue with a fence post?
Yeah, I've heard he dumber than a fence post. I've heard that one too.
Right, right. And that's so funny because there are those people, like we were talking about, who will argue with anybody
Mm,
about anything.
mm,
And
I
and
know.
it's and again, like Jim said, it's just how maybe they're wired, but it makes them feel good inside.
Yeah.
Doesn't make them right
Mm-mm.
and doesn't make them wrong. That's just the way they are. So,
Mhm.
you know what? Let it go, folks.
Yeah,
Just let it go.
exactly. You're exactly right there, Donna. Have you ever heard the old saying? My parents used to say this a lot: easy come, easy go.
Mm, yep.
Oh my goodness, that's another old world saying. It comes to mind that what's easy to get is easy to lose. If the instant frame of mind will end, the instant fortune will end, instant jobs will end. So don't believe the hype. Stay focused and remain grounded because a good example of how bad that is, easy come, easy go. I don't know why I'm going to use this as an analogy. You probably got a better one, Donna. But you take like lottery winners who have won the lottery. They did not earn it. They just got lucky,
Right.
bought a winning ticket. And how many times have we seen lottery winners say their life is worse off now than it was before they won the lottery? And some have actually said, we wish we had never won the lottery. And in our minds, if we had, I'm just going to throw this out hypothetically, if you knew from an inside source, the crystal ball, whatever, what the six digits were on a $40 million lottery, would you buy the ticket? Yes or no? And you, if you're like me, I'll be honest, you probably say, well, yes. But I'm going to show you an exception to that, those lottery runners. This
Right.
time I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to goof it off. I'm not going to let it destroy me. But the problem of it is, you did not earn it.
Well, and I think too, I would tell you I would get those lottery winning numbers,
Mhm.
but there's reasons behind that.
Okay.
I have always wanted to buy, we most of us have heard or seen the show on TV, pit bulls and parolees. I would buy a huge farm and have it split in two, one side for dogs, one side for cats. And
Mm.
there'd be vets on staff. But here's my twist on that. There's a lot of children, young adults, adolescents who get into a little bit of trouble. They're feeling their oats or getting squirrely, as they saying goes, but they have to do community service.
Hmm.
so they could come there and do it. Also,
Mhm.
we all who have pets know how dadgum expensive it is
Mhm.
to take care of an animal, right?
Mhm.
I would also, if it was me, I would also offer, maybe not the high end surgeries, but your normal stuff, your shots, your vaccinations, uh,
Mhm.
spay, neuter, that kind of thing. And
Mhm.
if a person couldn't afford it, that's okay. That they would have to work off that time by working in, whether it would be if they brought a cat in or a dog in, by walking the dogs, cleaning up, bathing,
Mhm.
but giving back to that area. That's one of the things I would do.
I
One of
got to
them.
applaud you on that because all the way through there, if you listen to what Donna was saying, it was all about how she was going to be giving back and use that to be a blessing for a multitude of people. She didn't mention one thing about buying a new dress, clothes, or car, or anything. A new clothes and dress, the same thing. Clothes and shoes and cars and all that. But yeah, I really like that because you think like when you were talking, I was just thought about. Can you imagine kids coming over who have handicaps?
Hmm.
And maybe they don't have an animal in their
Oh, yeah.
life, and to be able to have this is kid day, fun day, whatever you want to call it, and let
Yep.
them, be with the dogs and the cats, and goodness gracious, what a blessing that would be to them.
Wouldn't it? I got
Oh
to tell
yeah.
you, it is, if I had that kind of money,
Mm.
folks, I would do it in a New York minute. It would
Oh
be
yeah.
done.
Oh
It would
yeah.
be done. Lock,
Oh
stock,
yeah.
and barrel.
Oh yeah. And for them to be able to give back, like Donna was talking about, if they needed, care for their pets and they couldn't pay for it, no problem. To be
Right.
able to give them the opportunity to pay back. This is very, very important. Donna would give them a chance to contribute, and that would not rob them of their dignity.
Hmm.
Because if you're just interested in handouts, you are consistently robbing yourself of your own personal dignity.
Well, it goes back to you can feed a man, a fish, and he's got a
Mhm.
full belly. But if
Yeah.
you teach him how to fish, he can have a full belly for the rest of his life.
Yes. And being able to contribute and give back, that is very, very important mentally, physically, spiritually, the whole enchilada. It just means so much. And we've talked, goodness, we're 47 minutes into the broadcast. My
Right.
goodness gracious. And I was going to share about 400 more of these old sayings, but
Well,
oh, go
batten
ahead.
down the hatches, Jim. We don't have time.
Yeah, better safe than sorry.
Oh my gosh. What about this one? Knee high to a grasshopper.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning somebody's kind of small. They're just knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah. I've heard people say that, growing up in Carolina. That's back when I was just a little fella. I was probably about knee high to a duck.
Right? Knee high to a grasshopper is the one I grew
Yeah.
up on. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
It's really amazing. And earlier I mentioned the comment about, it's better safe than sorry. And
Hmm.
that's an old saying. And safety comes first in many issues of life. It certainly does. You might regret later that if you are reckless in life. And of course, we're all look back at our life and seem we were young and dumb and good looking and all that. And we did and say things that we would not do or say today. So the
Right.
best way to avoid being sorry is to be safe before anything happens and play it safe. That's the moral of that story. And if I may, I'd like to share that I think I was 55 or 56. I had never went in for a physical. So Evelyn told me, Jim, you need to go in for a physical. And I said, okay. So she set up the date and I went. And they did all the tests. And like I've said before, with my heart condition and all the heart attack and all I had, but back for decades, I always heard, "Hey, you're in great shape. You're this. You're that. You're." I remember the doctor told me, "So you're about 50. You're 55 on the outside, but on the inside, you may be 40. Yada da da da." And
Right.
then he said, "Just remember now, you can't do what you did when you were 25." And I looked at him. I said, "Well, doctor, who in the world would want to do what they did when they were 25?"
I'm just not sure I've got that much energy, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I got more brains now. I got less
Right?
energy, but more brains. How about that's a good trade-off, isn't it?
Absolutely. All right, Jim, I want to test your knowledge. You ready?
Uh-oh.
I know.
Can we pause the broadcast
No,
before you
we
test me?
cannot pause. This is the fun part for me. So belly up to the bar and get ready.
All right.
Who said who said this phrase? Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
My mother.
Well, that wasn't the originator of it.
Oh, well, mother always said it. You asked me a question. You were. I don't know who said that, who the originator was. Who was it?
Benjamin Franklin.
Hmm. Yep. Benjamin Franklin, he was quite a guy. He flew a
Very
kite
wise.
with it, yeah, with a key and all that. A lot of people don't. He was a renegade in a lot of ways. A lot
Oh,
of people,
absolutely. He
a lot of
bucked the system.
oh yeah, a lot of people don't know, but Benjamin Franklin was also one of the first nudists in America.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't visualize that, but I mean, he was just that
Could
way.
be
He was,
Rutnier.
he just walked to the beat of his own drum. He just really did. He just, if he wanted to experience something, he would. So, what did you say I did not hear?
I said that would be Rutnier.
Oh, we say we have fun on this show. We're not messing around with you. We're telling the truth.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, I tell you.
Oh, oh, that's funny. That's funny. Goodness. All right,
Yeah.
Jim, give us one more.
Okay, before I do, I'll mention Bill Heinrich, good friend of ours. He has TrueLifePurposeNow.com. This is Bill's book here, The Seven Levels of Truth. So if you're struggling, trying to find how to love yourself, love others, and enjoy the abundance of life, please get that book. And get in touch with Bill there at his website, TrueLifePurposeNow.com, because Bill will give you a 30-minute complimentary um, consultation to help you find what's blocking your energy. And also, Donna at Guinwa.com is her website, but Donna has a email address, High Energy Right Now. Donna, too, will share with you 30 minutes of complimentary consultation on how to help you find the energy blockers in your life. And she narrows it down to either a person, a place, or a thing, or a combination of the three.
Yeah, they
Mm,
can be tricky little
yeah.
suckers sometimes.
Oh, yeah. And also, too, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. That's on YouTube. So you've got an hour and a half there of good information to help you find your true calling in life and to know you were not born to work, worry, pay taxes, and be a slave to anything, including a
Absolutely.
person, a place, or a thing. And a wise old saying here. Let's see here. Let me pick up something here that see what I can come up with. Oh, business before pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard that one too. You got to take care of business before you have any pleasure, or
Yep.
words to that effect.
Hmm.
It means going to a party or goofing off all day and not doing nothing.
Right. Not getting, when I was young, you didn't get your chores done,
Hmm.
right? Didn't
Yeah,
get your
that's,
chores done, didn't get your homework done. So,
oh, yeah. If you
no
don't get your
can do,
homework done,
Missy.
you don't get your homework done, you may eat, but you're not getting any dessert.
Right?
You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Parents were like that growing up. And of course, when
absolutely.
you talk about business before pleasure, it means that you're going to, take care of your responsibilities
Mhm.
and then enjoy the benefit of your life.
Right.
Because whenever you finish something, Donna, don't you feel real good on the inside?
Oh, absolutely. You've got that accomplishment. You're like, yes,
Hmm.
I did it.
Yeah,
I did it.
yeah.
Yep.
Because how many times have you completed a chore? Like one time I was painting and did of course that was very tedious, very long and all that. But after I got done, wow, look how good it looks.
Hmm.
You know, the pride that you have, and I'm not talking about a puffed up pride. I'm talking about, wow, I did that,
Right.
and how
The sense
rewarding
of
that is on the inside.
accomplishment.
Yes,
The sense of
absolutely.
accomplishment.
Yeah, what Donna said.
Well, Jim and I, we're at the end of our show, and Jim and I want to thank each and every one of you, honestly, from the bottom of our heart, because without you, we wouldn't be able to be here.
Hmm.
And we want to thank you for watching us, whether it's weekly, daily, but being here with us every day. We
Hmm.
so appreciate you,
Yeah.
and we want you to know it.
You bet, Donna. Thank you so much for sharing that, because if you watch us live on Facebook, or if you're on Roku, Amazon Fire, any of the apps like that, thank you so much. If you missed an episode, you can catch us because we go live and it's recorded there and it's available on YouTube, the Messages of Inspirational Stories TV show. And if you by chance cannot find it, please email us and we will send you the exact link to that. And our email address is inspiration at e360tv.com. Because if you're like me, give me something simple. I'm a point and shoot kind of guy. I want to point my clicker here and shoot me over there where I want to be. Don't send me on a Lewis and Clark expedition.
On a goose chase, on a
There you
wild goose
go.
chase.
That's right. Yeah, I hadn't seen any wild gooses lately, but if I see one, I'll chase them for you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. And thank you again. Like Donna says, we really appreciate all of you folks that tune in from all over the world. And our goal is to be able to be a little bit of a bright light in your life. And everything that we share on this show, it comes from the heart. We have no script. This is the way we live our lives. And we want to be inspiring to you, helpful to you. And we just want to say thank you.
Mhm.
And Don and I hope that you and your loved ones are blessed in all areas of your life with good health, with a lot of love in your family, and most importantly, peace in your heart. We'll see you tomorrow.